Welcome everybody to Movies, Music, and Mayhem. My name is Rachel. I am your host. Hey everybody, welcome back. It is week. Who gives a shit? Today I have a very important, very special, amazing guest. Somebody that I'm pretty sure my mother loves more than me, or at least finds definitely more adorable. It is the one, the only, Andrew Ghai.
I gotta tell you, I mean this in the not weirdest way possible, but I have like a connection with moms. I have a thing with moms. I don't know if it's because I was raised by all women, but like to hear that your mom loves me, it's such a I'm like, yes. It gives me lifeblood to hear that.
I don't think you understand. She watched the live event and called me immediately after your match and was like, "Is Andrew okay?" And I was like, "Mom, he's fine. It's just a bit." She's like, "Are you sure? He doesn't look good." Like,
yeah, I did not look good there.
I was like, "Mom, it's okay. He's just, it's just a bit." And she's like, "Okay, well, tell him I hope he's okay." So mom will pop up in the chat at some point.
I'm okay, Mama. I'm okay. I promise.
We'll pull her up. But just so everybody knows, I do have a Patreon. Hold on. I know what I'm doing some days. Let's do this. Ta-da! Do have a Patreon. It's right up above me. If you want to add, if you have any questions for Andrew and I, Streamlabs is, I can't fucking do this, straight up above Andrew's head. The link is up there. It's also in the chat. Yeah, I'm doing so good. I haven't even started drinking yet. But part of being one of my levels of Patreon is being a drinking buddy at the $25 level. And that means that you also get to come on for 5 minutes for whatever guest you feel like. And today's is Mr. Jeremiah.
Come on, get out of here.
I wanted someone else. I've seen Drew every day.
How do I get out of here? Leave the show. Stop Cam. Stop Mike.
Hey, he's good money for this.
General. No, Jerry is I mean, he's a brother. He's a true brother. I'm very happy that he's here. And I'm very happy to hear you supporting your Patreon. That's what's so cool about most of the people in the Action Army. Jerry's always team guy though, so I can't give him that much crap.
Oh, yeah. I don't even acknowledge that other person.
Yeah, no, you don't. I know. Okay, so yesterday we did an Action Rewind where we go back and watch our matches and we talk like in depth about them, like things that we don't really want like out in public. Say. There's no way to hold anyone to that. So yesterday we were watching Ben's match against Merle. We skipped way ahead and we did Ben's most recent match against Merle because we did an episode of the Action Guys. We didn't get to talk about it. Even in that episode where Ben is just like, he's dying. It's one of he says the hardest match he's ever had to watch is the hardest match he's ever played. And he's literally like, I feel like he's going to cry. And in the chat, Jerry goes, "Even though I was rooting against you." That's like how he started
on the line.
It doesn't even matter how much what the rest of the sentence was. I was just like, God, Jerry will never let up.
It's so good.
And that's
I
commend
like,
you.
That's like pure brother status though. Like that is like it's like one of those things where like there are so few things, like there's a line that can only be crossed by blood relatives.
Yep.
And by best friends.
Yep.
And if anybody else does, they die.
Yeah. So I guess that means that you're either a blood relative of ours, Jerry, or you're one of our best friends. Because I feel like if it was anyone else, Ben would have found a way to come and slap you.
Oh. Yeah, you're not kidding. I don't feel bad.
Good.
But sometimes other people try to make me feel bad. Okay. And I stop that right there.
Hey man, look, you stay true to you, and that's what I respect you the most for. So wait, yeah, if you guys are drinking buddies, Rachel, what are you drinking? Jerry, what are you drinking?
I am drinking my best friend Jessica, who for people who watch comes on every once in a while. She's also a drinking buddy of mine. She bought me this beautiful mead up in Seattle.
Mead? I haven't had a mead in years.
This is a blackberry honey and local golden plum handpicked by our mead maker. It's delicious and it's so good. And now I need her to visit way more often and bring like a case of these because it's like small batch, like homemade mead, and it's delicious.
Wow. I respect that you're drinking mead because it's not often people are like, it's like, what are you drinking? They're like, mead.
I mean, I'm basically a barmaid from the 1500s, so you know. I literally have the corset and skirts and everything to go with it, which is why I'm very, very sad about missing Halloween this year. Because all I wanted to do was get dressed up, get drunk, sit on my balcony, and literally just chuck candy at kids.
Like, what kind of
ground.
You're like jawbreakers. You're like 2-pound jawbreakers. I love it.
Your costume sucks.
Jerry, what are you drinking?
Well, as you know, I don't drink alcohol, so I'm drinking Mountain Dew Live Wire.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Code Red. I thought you were going to say Code Red.
I went different today.
Classy.
That's amazing. What are you drinking, Drew?
I don't know. Well, so I was drinking sparkling water with some Mio in it, and now I feel like I should have like a real drink. I feel like
go grab some booze.
Well, so I don't need to go anywhere. I don't know. So you can't see this, but I can back up. This is one of the best things about my new setup here is that in the background I have a glass on my desk. Actually, look at that.
I need to get one of those.
And I also have a decanter.
Shut the fuck up! You guys are bitches over there.
Drink, so I'll just pour myself a little bit and then we'll cheers because I feel like it would be rude of me to come on your show
and not drink
with you, especially if call sign Jerry, a general, is here hanging out. So
you got to drink with the general.
That being said, here we go. Cheers to you guys.
Sláinte.
Here we go.
I mean, you guys did get me pretty drunk when I was on your show.
That's good. Well, you know,
like you guys got me drunk enough to sing on your show. And that's...
We pride ourselves in getting people hammered on our show.
I didn't get hammered, but I was drunk enough to think that singing along with Ben was a good idea. And that was not.
Yeah, I mean...
Because he can sing.
Well, I'm sure... I think you probably did good. I always sing along with Ben, and it's always so bad. There was the one time where... I don't know why this would happen regularly, but for some reason at the end of our streams we would like sing us. Do you remember this, Jerry? We would like sing sometimes.
And it was like when you were at Ben's old place.
Yeah. And so Ben would. The worst part though is that since Ben can really sing and he sings loudly and plays guitar, he would stand far back. But we had a shitty microphone, so I was standing there and I was like really like my horrible singing, really close up and loud, and then you couldn't even hear Ben. And then when we went back, he's like, "If you ever go back and watch it, it's all you can really. You can hear the guitar, you can kind of hear me singing. It's mainly just you." And I was like, "Oh my god,
it's the greatest thing ever."
You're like, "That's awesome," because I do this professionally. Hey guys. Mama is in the chat and she is drinking her famous almond tequila. So cheers, Mom. I'm so excited. I actually booked a flight to go home and go see her in a few weeks. I'll be doing a show from home and Mom's going to be there. So she'll probably sit in and drink some almond tequila with me.
Why am I on this show? Why can I, if I leave now, can I be with your mom?
I can have you for like the first like half hour of that show. We can go earlier and you can come in early. It'll just be the three of us. Or I can just call you when I'm there and the three of us can sit around and drink.
Okay. All right. I get it. I'm overstepping my bounds.
I'm pretty sure that my mom was actually really disappointed that I didn't reschedule you for next month. But it was a hassle to try and like coordinate schedules at this point because you are so busy. But before we get into that, Jerry, do you have any questions for Drew? Or are you just here to harass?
Well, I never harassed Drew. I love Drew. Okay. Drew is my favorite player of all time. I got to say, Drew, here on video, one of the greatest moments of my life was in New York when I first met you. And you came and almost tackled me.
Dude.
I love that, man. I just wanted to say that on video. That made my week.
Dude,
just wanted to say
that made my day. Thank you, man.
Which New York was that?
And that was when I played Burnett.
Oh, okay. So that was last January,
right? It was that one, yeah.
Yeah, that was that. Yeah.
It was like, were we sweating our balls off, or was it cold as the devil? Like, yeah.
But the first time I wasn't competing. But dude, it's because like that was the first time we'd met, correct? Yeah.
Physically, yeah.
Yeah, because we obviously.
That did not come out the way I meant it. Okay?
We met physically a few times that day.
Hey.
Well, I felt like I already knew you so well, and we had just never met. We'd never been at a live event together, and so it was so cool. And that's how Rachel, you know how it is now. Meeting all the people that you talk to online for so long. It's like wow, like I don't need to shake your hand. I could have fucking tackled you and it would have been fine. You know, I know you would have been like, Jesus Christ, this guy's crazy, but like, yeah, here we are. We finally get to hang out. You know, so
you kidding me? That would have been on Facebook. I got tackled by Andrew Ghai. Okay, that would have been there.
You got to pay for that, dude. You got to pay for that.
Man,
that's another tier.
Yeah,
that's Commander.
But I did have one question. Since it is about movies, music, and mayhem, you are a star of a movie that I don't think has come out yet. But I know we still got to wait to see it. What was your favorite part of shooting that movie?
That's a good question, man. I think my favorite part of shooting that movie was, so when I was a kid, I loved to play guns, I called it. And it would be like with me and my buddies, we'd walk around with like guns in the house and we'd like make up these elaborate stories. We'd fight all these imaginary bad guys and we'd do that, right? And so the coolest thing for me was the numerous days on set that I got to walk around with a gun through crazy lit, dark underground tunnels in downtown Los Angeles with a monster chasing me. Like, it just felt so cool to be doing what I did, I guess at that point, like 20 years before when I was a kid, and then be like, holy shit, I'm doing this again as an adult, but I'm getting paid for it. And people are like filming me to watch me do what it was like that realization of being like, man, there's a reason why for some reason I did that so much as a kid, was like drawing up these crazy stories in my head and playing them out with my friends. So yeah, that was probably my favorite thing.
Cool. Well, I know my time's over, so thank you, Drew. Love you. Rachel, love you too. Have a good one.
Salute, brother.
We'll see you on Sunday for the Golden Day. He's just the sweetest.
He's yeah. So many of these people in the space like that hang out that are part of the army, part of, what do you call your thing? The shining sugar.
That is so wrong. I legit might cry. Oh, it makes me so happy.
Every time I see you do anything, I'll be like, Gah! And then she's like, what the hell? And I'll be like, nothing, babe. Nothing.
I'm not joking. Like, this literally, I can't remember which match it was, but I think it was the match that I lost to Roca last year for the round one singles match. And I was so devastated. Like, I know I did a good job, but I was like, I was so close to beating him and no one gave me credit.
Happens a lot.
And then I walk out and you and Ben are like sitting around and Ben just looks over and he goes, shiny shooter, and you both like, go! And I like was instantly like in a way better mood. It like, I don't care what's going on. You guys could say that and then my day is instantly made.
Well, I mean, sorry, I'm going to retweet this, but I am listening to you. I know that Ben and I, in that moment, we knew exactly what was going to happen. It was that you were going to come out and you played a hell of a match. Should have won. Maybe, whatever. We'll say.
I should have. My head was up my ass a little bit, but it's fine.
I think everyone kind of wanted you to win because it's an underdog story in that situation. And everyone loves a good underdog story. It doesn't matter who. It's like you're playing against one of the greatest of all time, right?
Yeah.
So the fact that you played as well as you did, you came out, we both knew how you felt in that moment. So we were like, how can we be stupid?
And it stuck, and it's so great. Oh, mom has a question. Guys, if you have a question, Streamlabs it, but mom has free reign because she gave birth to me. So
the movie's called Bloody Eyes, and we finished shooting it years ago. It's been like 3 years ago we finished shooting it now. Or maybe 2. Yeah, I think it's almost 3. Yeah, I think it's almost 3 years. So it might be 2.5, which is crazy. So the first year I give a pass because the director had a baby. Him and his wife had a baby. She was she was like the line producer. So she helped deal with paying everyone. And he's the director, and he's actually like a very famous Brazilian director, I guess, from like a short film that he did. Which is why like we had a lot of Brazilian press come to the filming. Anyway, he and she had a baby that I think was born maybe 6 months after the movie finished. So it was like that might have even been like 3 or 4 months. So anyway, that little time window after we finished, I guarantee they were burnt out anyway. They knew the baby was coming. Then you have the baby. You give them at least a year, right, of like dealing with a goddamn baby.
Can't wait for you to have a kid so we can screenshot this for them.
Yeah, I know. No, it's gonna be a lot.
The fucking kids.
Fucking kids, but you got to give them a pass, right? So you understand why it takes a long time, and like he's, it's a horror movie, so there's a lot of sound editing and graphics editing, and anyway, at this point now, I've stopped feeling super optimistic about it. I feel like there's no way it's not going to happen. There was just way too much money spent on it. There was way too many people involved. I mean, we're talking like a feature film, like a real feature, not like a short film or like a low budget. I mean, it was slightly lower budget, but there was still a lot of money in this. But I don't know. It's been so long, but you hear about it. You hear about it all the time with like major motion pictures, right? Where it's like, oh yeah, these 4 people are really hot right now. They were actually in a movie that was filmed like 8 years ago. Let's release that. But I don't know. I don't know where the hell that movie is. It's called Bloody Eyes, though. It's on my IMDb if you want to check it out.
Mom will let you know when it comes out. We'll make sure and download it for you. I have turned into, as many of our generation have, I have turned into my mother's IT department, and so I turned into her IT department. Like we were on FaceTime. We set up her YouTube account. I told her how to comment, because she was just like, I was just putting her backstage, and she would just listen, like let it play. And she's like, no, I want it. There's like a chat. I want to talk. And so now she has adopted half of my followers. She and Campshaft have like a beautiful relationship. It's so cute.
Oh, I also love Campshaft. The fact that she's here live right now and speaking live in the chat, asking questions that are, relative to what's happening is leagues beyond my mother, because she still will text me. She's like, I'm watching your show, Action Movie Anatomy, on The Mechanic. And I'm like, what? Like, you watched that when it came out 3 years ago. That movie sucked in our mind. And why? Like, have you watched our most recent stream? She's like, I don't know. And I'm like,
if it's on, it's on.
Have you typed in Action Industry? She's like, yeah. And I'm like, all right, whatever. We'll leave it alone.
Yeah. My sister leaves my shows on the TV when she leaves for work for her dog, who I am convinced will one day become mine, because he's perfect and wonderful, and he would be best friends with Snick.
Look, I love you, but you really are trying to steal everyone's dog around here.
I just love pups. Somebody needs to give me a dog already, and just let me, you know what? At this point, I literally almost broke my wrist the other night on a walk, because somebody's puppy got off leash and started running towards the street. I mean, granted, it was 1 a.m., so no one was around, but I freaked out so much I fell and almost broke my wrist to grab the dog before it ran into the street. And then the dog almost broke my glasses, tore out my earbuds, and I was so happy because I got to pet a puppy. Oh
God. Okay, first of all, can you just get a dog? No, you can't have it at your place.
That's why I need to steal everybody's.
That's fair. I know. That's why I didn't have one for the longest time. Because right now really does feel like if you got a dog, even right now, I feel like in what year is it?
2020, I believe. It's the longest decade in history.
Even right now, let's say you got a puppy, 4 weeks old. I'd say by the time things felt normal again, that puppy would already be almost a year, probably 7 months at the earliest, that you're leaving regularly, that you can't just leave it in the kennel or something.
Yeah.
It would be the perfect time to get a dog right now.
I know.
I'm sorry to rub it in. Stickers.
I know.
By the time the quarantine's over, he will have spent more than half of his life in quarantine. Mm-hmm. And I think he's going to be a sassy little bitch when it's over, because he already is. He does not, even by the end of the day, he's like, if he has not got enough attention, he is relentless.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember when I got to sit for him, and I was watching TV on the couch, and he was laying at the other end, and I didn't sit near him, so he literally looked over at me side-eyed and got up off the other end of the couch and like came over and plopped in my lap, and I was like, this is like every dream coming true right now. I'm like, I have a cute dog in my lap, I'm watching TV, I don't have any responsibilities other than doing this. This is my happy place. Like, this is my version of heaven.
He's like, how dare you?
Yeah. And I was like, okay, come here, snuggle. Yeah. And he just started like dog purring, I guess. Like, because dogs don't purr, but he did. It's like a contented low growl. Yeah.
It's a weird sound, but you know he's happy. God, I love that guy. I love that guy so much. He's
I am not. Although he does redeem himself.
Yeah, I mean, look.
Yeah. I never
thought about making him into a handbag a couple times, okay? He's driven me crazy. I thought about it.
It happens every once in a while.
I wouldn't do it, though.
But yeah, I can't believe you've had Snickers, what, like a year and a half at this point?
Yeah, in February, I think it'll be 2 years.
Jeez.
Yeah, February 24th, I believe, is 2 years that we got him. And then November 30th, which is my mom's birthday, is also his birthday. He turns 2.
Yeah, because
she also turns 2. 72.
The number right in front of it. Yeah, mom's got a big milestone birthday coming up that she's wanting us all to like do a group trip to Hawaii, and I'm like,
30?
Yeah, she's finally turning the big 50, and she's got a 38-year-old daughter, my older sister. You know, she started young, aged real well. No, but she wants to take us all to Hawaii, and I'm like, I love that idea, but like, guys, I don't think we're going anywhere until like 2022.
I know my mom. I think so what you said you're going to go visit your mom. I'm going to go visit my mom as well here in a couple months. I'm going to drive up to Oregon. I'm going to take a COVID test with Ash. Stickers is clear. We're going to take a drive up north. We're going to stay in an Airbnb that is, because all of them are like highlight how they disinfect everything now, and it's all contactless, check in, check out, the whole thing. So I'm going to go visit her because I think she's going to lose her mind. She hasn't seen her family this entire year. And she's like, this has never happened before. And I'm like, no shit. It's never, like, really? Of course it's never happened before. Look around you, woman. I love you to death. But like, so I'm going to go visit her because it's around her birthday at Thanksgiving. Because I think she's finally swallowed the pill that Christmas is not going to happen, because every year our family has always gotten together for Christmas.
Oh,
yeah, it sucks.
Yeah, the reason I'm flying up, because I am planning on going up for Thanksgiving, so I'm going to drive up, probably drive up for Thanksgiving. But like Southwest was doing this sale on like, if you purchase with points, you got 20% off, and I was like, oh, so it cost me like less than 5,000 points to go see my mom. And I like didn't think she was going to say yes anyway, because I'm constantly like, Mom, I'm bored. I need a project to do. Let me come organize and clean your house. And she's like, no, it's not safe. And now I think I've worn her down, and she's lonely enough to like let me home.
Well, I've heard pretty mixed things about the airports. I've heard not that they're not safe.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I've heard that there's like, one is that they're like barren,
desolate,
no one. And then the other one that I've heard from my sister, who travels from Utah to Boston, like more than she probably should, because her daughter just had a baby. So like I have I'm like a great uncle of 3.
Wait, what?
Yeah. It's a whole thing.
That's right.
I have 6 nephews, 2 nieces. I have 2 great nephews, 3 great nephews now. So that's a whole thing. And I'm 32, so it's
you're 32?
Yeah.
You.
I was like,
God. You could pass for 25. This is not okay.
Yeah, I got a lot of gray hair. It's the lighting, it kind of blows out the gray.
That's why
a lot of gray hair.
That's why I went blonde, because you can't fucking tell.
It looks good.
Thank you. Yeah, I need to touch up the roots because it's getting a little long in the tooth. But like I realized, I was like looking at my roots, and I was like, why aren't there any like, why don't I have any roots here? And I'm like, oh, that's the gray, but you can't fucking tell because the rest of it's blonde. I'm like, this is perfect.
This is genius. This
hack. Love it. I'll just wait till everything grows in gray and then shave my head and then just grow it in. Although I'm hoping I'm hoping I'll get my mom's hair color because my mom didn't go gray. She went silver. And it's like beautiful. It is like luminescent. Like she literally.
I would say silver fox, but I feel like it's disrespectful. But I had a football coach in high school that we called Silver Fox. He was like in his 40s and he had like the sickest gray hair. It was like gray with a little black. You were like, dude, you didn't make George Clooney's hair look lame. So we called him the Silver Fox. But I mean, do you remember a couple of years ago when silver hair was just the thing? Every girl had like that light silver hair with a little bit of lavender at the bottom. You know, you remember that?
I do.
I remember that. I almost did it.
I mean, you could pull it off.
I think I could pull the blonde to lavender. I think it would go well with my skin.
Yeah, for sure.
It would not be noticeable. It
No.
would feel natural.
Yeah, I mean, you would literally look like an elf. Like you just have that bone structure.
I'd be like, I really want to be cast in the next Lord of the Rings as an elf. And I know I don't have my skin color going for me, but I could maybe get there.
Let's do it. Let's make the first non-white elf. It'll be great.
It'll be great. Look, I'm happy to bow out of that. Okay. I'm okay with it.
I mean, but that actually raises a question. Like, would you want, like, other than the prestige of being able to say like I was in a Lord of the Rings movie, like what major saga, like film saga, would you love to have been in?
You know, it's tough, right? Because so as like a brown dude, I do like think about other brown dudes out there. And so like the one guy that I kind of look at that whose career could be the most similar to what mine would hopefully be one day is like a guy like Oscar Isaac, you know, because
nice.
I love Oscar Isaac. I think he's incredibly talented. I like the movies he picks. I like the choices he makes as an actor in films. He's awesome, you know? So it's not like I was like, I wish I could have been Superman. Because like as a kid, I wanted to be Superman and
well,
Batman.
I mean, if all that social construct wasn't, you know, in there, like what film saga would you love to be?
You don't even think about it. You don't even think about it. I guess honestly, then it is so weird to say because like I think that they kind of suck. Are Bond movies? I would have loved to have been like James Bond.
Okay.
And like. Because I love putting on a suit. I really do. I love in Bond movies how right. I mean, honestly, I haven't put a suit on in 6 months. I really haven't. I put on like the top half of one for maybe an audition, but the bottom half I'm always still rocking shorts.
Fucking go put it on. Who gives a shit?
I don't want to. So I can sweat in my apartment. Like I don't go anywhere. I don't do anything, you know. I mean, I guess I wear it just to feel good for a little bit. That's not
absolutely. I mean, there's that meme of like all of the girls from Friends sitting around in their wedding dresses, eating popcorn and watching TV. Girls actually do that shit. Like,
you guys sit around in your wedding dress. You have.
Well, I burned mine, so I don't have that to do. But I will get gussied up just to like make myself feel good.
No, that's true. That's true. I mean, there's definitely. Look, today I did my hair. Okay.
It's so pretty.
Like I wear hats a lot these days, or I just don't even do anything, and then I'll just only put hats when I go outside to walk stick.
That's fair.
That's where I'm at.
But sagas.
Yes.
But
sagas.
So you were talking about Bond.
I think Bond. Honestly, I think it would have been like I would have loved to have been a Bond or a Bourne. Like those types of things I love. The superhero thing is awesome, but I don't know. I always thought it would be cooler to be more of like a real life superhero. Not one with actually superpowers, but one that seemed that, you know, actually like Bond and Bourne, they actually have superpowers because there's no way those guys actually survive anything that actually happened to them.
It's true.
But yeah, I think that's probably where I would have went.
Well, but if you've watched Kevin Smith's Jay and Silent Bob reboot, it explains why Bourne survives everything because he is in fact actually the angel Loki.
Oh, well, yeah. I guess that does make sense.
So that explains why Bourne can live. If you don't get that joke, fuck you, and go watch Reboot.
I haven't seen that, but I do love Dogma, and I do love Jay and Silent Bob. So.
It's literally like a cutscene for no reason at all, and it literally just the movie cuts to Matt Damon sitting in a church, and he turns over a pew, and he's like, "Hey guys, remember me? I'm Loki. I'm not that Tom Hiddleston guy, whatever, like, fuck him. Like, I'm the real Loki. And he like goes on and talks about how like how Bartleby didn't actually kill him, but like he ended up falling and ended up in the Mediterranean Sea and got rescued by a fisherman. And then he goes, it like basically tells you the very begin, like it leads into the very beginning of the Bourne series. And I was like sitting in the theater, just like, masterful. This is so beautiful.
I think I saw it on, I think it's streaming somewhere, so I need to watch it.
It's on Prime. So
on Prime, okay. All right. Yeah.
Definitely go watch that. And then immediately afterwards, you can go watch Magnum Opus, which is like their it's like their making of documentary, and it's like really moving. It's really sweet. You get to see like Jericho and Smith like acting like fools together, like during their shoots together. It's really, really sweet. And like Kevin touches on about everything that was going on, and like he cries because he's just a big fucking teddy bear. But he like talks about how, you know, he gets everybody back and how he's so grateful that like Ben Affleck and him are friends again, and like it's really moving. And I'm also a crybaby, so I'm like weeping as I watch this.
Yeah.
See, I could see you in like a John Wick series.
Yeah, I mean John Wick. I mean that's what I mean, right? Like John Wick is like the same badass dude in a suit, kicking people's asses. That's like a superhuman that should either die or admit that he's a superhero, but he's not. Like that type of thing. I think that would have always been super cool.
Well, I mean, you're speaking it like it's in the past tense, whereas if you look at it, Keanu Reeves is doing that job right now, and he's old enough to be your father. So
right, but I just mean like you're saying like franchises that have come. It's like I don't think I could be John Wick again, but something like that, or Bourne or Bond, because you know I feel like the next correct step, or not the next, like it seems the trajectory for Bond would be a black actor next, if it wasn't going to be another white guy.
Didn't they lock in Tom Hardy?
Did they actually lock him in?
I don't know. I saw the article going around and I didn't really want to read it until somebody was talking about it. But I mean, I'm fine with that, but
I mean, I just like the idea of it.
I don't care as long as a man looks good in a tux. That's all I care about. Can he drive a car? Can he order a martini, shaken not stirred? And can he look good in a tux and out of a tux? That's all I care about.
It's tough because look, I'm one of the biggest Tom Hardy fans there are. Like, yeah. I just don't love him as Bond. I don't love him as Bond because he doesn't have that he doesn't have the swagger of James Bond. He has the swagger of a different type of like badass. Like he has the swagger of a Bond villain, like a Bond villain that you root for, you know?
Yeah.
Not a James Bond because he's like, I don't know. He's always too like this, you know? He's always mad about stuff. That's him.
Do that again.
No, I don't want to.
No fun. No fun. I always do that to my sister. She always does something stupid. I'm like, what did you say? And she'll do it again. I'm like, one more time. Dude, I went back and watched a few of like the first Bond movies, and I was just like, woof. This is hard to watch now. I'm really glad that they're updating it because it needs to be. I would love to see a female Bond.
I would too. I mean, I love that they're bringing in another 00 that's a female in this Bond. I think the trailers for it look awesome. She looks like a complete badass. I'm so ready for it. I'm here for it. I want to see exactly because she's going to save his ass numerous times in the movie. Like it's so set up for it. Like he'll save her once, but she's definitely going to save his ass way more times. Yeah, but all anybody's going to talk about is how her heels are ridiculous for her running on cobblestones. Like that's it. And I agree with them. Fuck that. I don't know. Like at that point, if you're a super like Keanu Reeves fought people with a samurai sword on top of a motorcycle, and people can't run in heels. Like that's the complaint. Are you kidding me? Like even I was tried running in heels on cobblestones. I can't even look at cobblestones without twisting my ankles. If you're a superhero action star in a movie, you should be able to do that shit. Because I was even watching John Wick 3 being like, this is so stupid. This is so dumb. And then I was even watching John Wick 3 as a movie fan when he fought the two dudes from The Raid. And I was like, this is so stupid, dude. This is so dumb. Because they would, like, first of all, you can't do that on a motorcycle. Second of all, those guys would fuck him up. They just would. Well, yes, but they wouldn't fuck up John Wick. Oh, no. I don't know. I mean,
we're blurring the line between reality and fantasy at this point. Although I did laugh really hard in the theaters, like way harder than I should have, when that horse kicks the guy in John Wick 3. I laughed so hard because I'm like, dude, animals are always getting abused in these movies. And John Wick literally just like slaps it on the butt and it kicks this guy through a stall. I'm crying laughing. My friends are like, what's so funny? I'm like, did you just see that? The horse got the best kill of the whole movie. Like,
I mean, you hear about horse kicks. Horses terrify me, okay?
Yes.
Like, that's way too much power in something that I'm supposed to be like just hanging out with. It's like chilling with a tiger, okay? It's just a different part of it you got to be scared of.
Yeah,
that
the other end.
Or bucks you, like, no way.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I mean, they're just giant, like, animals are just varying degrees of dogs for me at this point. But, like, they are. Like, cows are giant puppies. They just want to lay down and snuggle, and they're so sweet and wonderful and cute. And have you seen those pictures of those big, fluffy, like fuzzy cows?
No.
Oh my God, they're like they have this curly. No, they have like curly fur, and like they look like a cross between like a mammoth and like a longhorn. It is so cute.
I would never have a cow. I would have a pig. I think I would have a pig, but not a cow.
Well, go hang out with Kaiser. I'm actually really upset that I haven't gotten a chance to hang out with Piggy Smalls yet.
I know. Piggy Smalls is also one of the greatest pet names of all time. Like, can we be honest? Can we be real here? Piggy Smalls.
Yeah, let's cut the shit. It's probably the best pet name I've ever heard in my life.
I think it is.
Like,
it was great. I didn't even name him, and it's a great name for him because I wanted a dog, chocolate lab with a candy bar name, so he was perfect because of Hershey growing up, which was my chocolate lab for like 12 and a half years.
Oh.
But Piggy Smalls, it's kind of the best.
Piggy Smalls was so good that when I heard it, I was filled with so much joy. It made me angry. You know?
It wasn't yours. Were you gonna steal it again?
Like, just made me so angry. But well, what have you been watching during this whole like insanity? Because I mean, I know you've been like crazy busy with like everything. Between action industries and
between action industries and esports and trying to get my life together with streaming every day or more than twice a week. Like I've been doing it. I want to do it 4 to 5 days a week, streaming on Twitch. But also there's Clash Royale, which streams Saturday and Sunday, and then there's Action, which streams usually Thursday through Sunday. So it's just like, I don't do anything. I sit in this one room for so many hours of my life, but I still feel, like you said, so busy. So honestly, when I've been watching stuff, I've been turning my brain off and watching things, but it's been different things. So it started with just a lot of like, Chopped and Cutthroat Kitchen. And then it turned into, whatever, Love is Blind. I fucking loved Love is Blind. I really did. I loved Love is Blind. I loved the other one that everyone was talking about, the other dating show. I can't even remember because they all are so stupid. It was
the Love is Blind is the one where like they ended up having to decide they get engaged after like blind dating for like 2 times. That's the one, right?
Well, it's like through a wall. They talk through a wall. I love that.
And then like
the
get engaged. And then they follow it through, and then like they have to wait till the wedding to see if they're actually getting it together. Yeah, fucking Alex and Brandon got me hooked on that. Like I wasn't the one watching that. They were. I was literally in the kitchen cooking, and they would watch it, and I'd be like, "This girl's a fucking tiger whore." And they're like, "What?" And I'm like, "Dude, she's crazy. Like, listen to her words and look at her eyes. Like, you've been watching this for 5 seconds." And I literally got hooked in.
So I watched a lot of that stuff. Ashley loves Queer Eye, the newest Queer Eye, which I love. It's just good, wholesome TV. It makes you want to cry every episode. They're all so sweet and
makes you want to.
I mean, I do cry. I cry a lot. And then I watched a couple directors filmographies, which I can't really talk about too much. But I did some of that.
Keep drinking. We'll talk about that later.
I enjoy it. Like no directors I was super crazy about that might give away who they are. And then right now I'm watching The Last Dance finally, which is the Jordan documentary.
Right.
It's phenomenal because I wasn't even like, I told Ashley, my girlfriend, that I wanted to watch it, and she was like, "Oh yeah, that sounds like really great." And like for some reason, I get excited about watching something, and then I avoid watching it. It's a really weird thing that I do. I don't know.
I know what it is.
What?
It's because you don't want it to end.
I don't want it to end, or I don't want it to like let me down. I think
Yeah.
it's one of the two. And so finally, she was like,
Yeah.
"Can we just watch the Jordan documentary?" And I was like, "Fine." Like a few days ago, and it's been she loves it. I love it. It's incredible because in the first episode, I think some guy says you can argue that Michael Jordan is the best person at doing their job than anyone in the history of doing their job. And I was like, huh. I was like, first of all, that's an incredible statement, because if you really think about it, you're like, well, that's actually true. And then watching someone that's that great at something, and their commitment to greatness on a regular basis through their entire career, through everything they've ever done, there's just something so admirable and mesmerizing about watching someone like that. If you're the best fucking person in the history of the world at doing one thing and one thing only, and I can watch a deep dive into that and watch your commitment to greatness every single day, that shit is, even if it's sometimes it's almost depressing, because you're like, Jesus.
Yeah.
Where do I get that inspiration from? Like, where am I going to find that every day? But then you also see him and he's burnt out. You're like, well, shit, it's everyone like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I love good documentaries, and I've watched a lot of good documentaries throughout this. I mean, yeah, there's been a lot of intense ones that have come out this year. I mean, When They See Us was one of the first ones I watched this year, and it like ripped my heart out.
Yeah. Yeah. That was the
about the Central Park 5.
Central Park 5. Yeah, I actually I got to talk to John about that when I was on tour with him, John Leguizamo, and I was like, dude, this is heavy.
Yeah. I mean, literally every one of the like big time documentaries you've heard about, the like really heavy ones, and even the stupid ones, I think I've watched during this, like from the Tiger Kings, like I just said, the When They See Us is. But yeah, I've been watching a lot of that. So I have this weird thing, and Ben and I have talked about this a good amount over on our channel and just over the years, about you go through phases with Showdowns. It feels like Showdown, but it's really your relationship to film.
Yeah.
Because it feels like when you watch a movie you've seen before, you're wasting your time. And it feels like if you're not like adamantly seeking out the next film that you should be studying and watching, you're wasting your time again.
Yeah, it's a huge guilt trip that you put in that's internal, and nobody is putting that on you but yourself, but you can't help it. Like, it's unbelievable.
And then when you're in, like, I don't want to watch new movies all the time. I don't want to like watch a new movie and then not really pay attention to it and then be like, well, shit, I've actually seen whatever XYZ movie this is. But if I was to be asked a question about it, would I really remember? So it just becomes this weird thing with movies to where I have a hard time committing to them right now. I think the one film that like pops out in my head the most is Chef. I watched Chef during this for the first time. It was like the inspiration for our new show, Film Food, on Action Industries. It's just like such a feel-good coming-of-age movie. Like, Favreau's so good in it. It's another movie with fucking Leguizamo, who's incredible. Like, that was another movie that I was like, I need to watch Chef. And then I avoided it for like 3 years or whatever. And I finally watched it. And it's so good.
It's so good. Yeah, I had to talk to John about that, because like we went out to lunch one day and it was just the two of us, and I was like freaking out inside, because I've been a fan of his since like I saw Tu Wong Fu, Thanks for Everything, Julie Newmar, when I was like 7.
Loved The Pest growing up, and Tu Wong Fu. Both movies were like, they were my lifeblood. Yeah, he was talking, and I was like trying to like, I was doing something, and he backstage and like carrying boxes and before the show. And this is when we were still in LA at the Amundsen, and he walked by and he started talking to me, and I was like, okay, this box is really heavy, I gotta go. And he like turned around and spoke to me like Chi-Chi, and I was like, I'm like, I'm going to give you this warning right now, John. If you ever do that to me again, like, I am not responsible for my own reactions. Like, man, it's on you.
Just like, I know you're married with kids happily. Like, I cannot make any promises. Like, that is a trigger point for me. I don't know why I get turned on by that, but I'm just don't And he just started laughing. And I'm like, I know you're laughing. I know this is funny. But I'm dead serious. Please don't do that to me again.
Don't do it.
But we did talk about Chef, and I was like, you got to tell me, is that grilled cheese as good as it looks? He goes, no. Like,
yeah, there's no
times.
way.
He's like, no, it was 1,000 times better. It's like, you can go fuck yourself. Yeah, he was like, it was delicious.
No
yeah.
way.
Yeah. I was like, that's not okay. I was like,
yeah, those Poblano's and the grilled cheese look so good. So good.
Have you watched the Chef show?
No.
Oh, definitely give that one a watch. Yeah, because it's literally just Favreau and the chef guy from Koji like literally traveling around and cooking food with like Favreau's celebrity friends.
I love
or like going out to dinner with them. Like he goes out to dinner with Robert Downey Jr. and Tom Holland and like the Russo brothers when they're in New Orleans filming one of the movies. And it's like they have like a 10-course meal in front of them and they're all just like getting drunk and eating food. And I'm like, this is worse than porn for me. Like,
there's something so cathartic and like satisfying about watching people eat good food. I don't
or
know
make good food.
Prepare good food. Yeah. I love that shit. I love cooking shows. And I love to do it. I love to cook. Like I really do.
Well, I always loved to cook, but then when I was on tour, like I never really had, I didn't have a lot of access to kitchens because like the first 5 years that I was out with Beauty and the Beast, we were split weeking it, which means we would spend like maybe, I think the least amount of time we spent in one city was 13 hours. And then we would constantly move and move and move. Like we would pull in at like 3 p.m. and like have to leave at like 4 or 5 a.m. the next day to get to the next city. It was rough. And so like every now and then, like it was one of those things like whenever we had a city that we sat down for like a weekend, people would just get apartments and Airbnbs and like getting a place with a kitchen was, we would host dinner parties at 2 a.m. because we could, you know? So like now that I'm off the road, I'm like constantly in the kitchen. Like I'll walk in sometimes and one of the boys will be in the kitchen. I'm like, get out of my kitchen.
Get out of the kitchen. Hey, get out.
No, not the kitchen. My kitchen. Get out of my kitchen. Like when I used to come home from tour and visit my mom, like that was my kitchen. That wasn't her kitchen. It was my kitchen for like the 4 days that I was home. But two of the movies that I can never watch and not eat to is, I don't know why, but Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle. Just the way they talk about the burgers, like I have to have a burger in front of me. And then tortilla soup. Have you ever seen that?
No.
It is absolutely fantastic. It's about this family that lives in the valley in LA. And their dad's a chef and his wife dies and he psychosomatically goes, he can't taste anything anymore, but he still cooks. And he is like raising his 3 grown daughters are still living at home with him because they're, you know, traditionally Hispanic. And it's such a beautiful thing. And everybody's constantly cooking and eating. And I'm just like, I can't deal with this. Raquel Welch is in it. Like it's really, really good. If you want a movie to get fat too.
That's one of them. Well, so
that's definitely one.
We did a ranking of fast food restaurants the other day. We did a tier list of fast food restaurants on our show.
I heard.
And White Castle came up because I've actually never eaten there. I've heard it's not that good. No, so I don't know. Not. Yeah, exactly.
It's That's great when you're drunk.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. But I've heard that it's kind of a letdown, but it does always make me want to eat a like little greasy ass burger more than almost any movie makes me want to eat anything because I loved that movie growing up. I mean, well, yeah, I guess growing up, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, I've actually been to that location. They're like, oh, it's in Cherry Hill. I'm like, wait, I've been to the White Castle in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Like, because I have friends that live out there and I got to go visit and we drove out to Cherry Hill one night because it was the only one open 24 hours.
I have to eat it at one point. I really have to try it. I really do. But they're just not here. I should have done when I was in New York, I guess, because that's the
yeah, but you got to go like outside of the city and whatever. We do have some Streamlabs that came in, so I'm super excited. So Matt Kearns sent in Streamlabs.
Kearnsy.
He says, this stream is too awesome. It can't be contained. Sorry, forgot a question. Love you, Kearns. And then Jeremiah said, Drew, I would freak if you were ever in a Star Wars movie.
Yeah, I mean, that's why Oscar Isaac, man. Oscar Isaac. He locked it down. He's got such a great career. The things that he's been in, And even though he like sucked in X-Men, it was like he was still an X-Men. Like that's where his career was, that he was able to be the villain in X-Men.
But was it his fault?
I was gonna say it wasn't his fault. It wasn't his fault. Like they made him look ridiculous, and the script sucked, in my opinion. And like, yeah. Otherwise, I think his career's been awesome.
Yeah, he's one of those actors that I will watch anything he's in. Like if I hear he's in it, I may not see it in the theaters, but I'm definitely watching it at some point.
The first time he stood out to me was it was just in Drive, and he's like not in that movie for that long, but I love him in that movie.
I haven't watched that in a while. I should rewatch that. Yeah, dude, I'm with you, Jedi McPimp. Ex Machina, though.
Yeah, Ex Machina, he's great.
That movie's amazing.
I think he's even great in Annihilation, another movie he's in for not a whole lot of it, but his parts in it are like very good, very, very good.
Yeah, he's one of those actors that definitely is one of those, like, he makes the most of whatever he's given. Like, you don't hear stories about him complaining about roles or anything. Like, he does the work and he does it well. It's unbelievable.
I mean, that's why, like, Philip Seymour Hoffman's one of those guys that I love. Is like you watch him in any role, and you're like, that guy he did something. Like, Along Came Polly is one of my favorite examples of one of the greatest actors of our generation.
Mr. Philip Seymour Hoffman.
In a position where it could have been such a shitty role. Like, if that was cast as anyone else, I think, or maybe just not a great genius comedic level actor, which is hilarious because no one thinks of Philip Seymour Hoffman as a genius comedian, like comedic actor.
Well, a lot of people are wrong. So
I mean, I just think they think of him as a great dramatic actor because he really was like a great dramatic character actor. But when you watch that movie, you're like, Jesus, like look at what someone can do with anything they're given. Like, this guy is great, and that's I love watching people do that.
Yeah, he definitely has Tom Hanks syndrome because everybody forgets that Tom Hanks was a comedic actor. Tom Hanks and Michael Keaton were both comedic actors before they got their break in that first dramatic role, and then they kept getting cast in those roles, and very rarely will they be, back to their roots in comedy. Honestly, my favorite role of Philip Seymour Hoffman's is in Almost Famous because it is my favorite movie, but also there's just something to me. Like, I remember watching that movie growing up and being like, I am the kid. Like, I am him. And now, old and road weary and beaten down by life, I'm like, no, I'm definitely Lester Bangs. Like, I'm definitely that old guy that's like at home giving advice to people when I'm drunk on like whiskey and cold syrup. Like, that's me. Searching for an album I can't find because I can't remember how I sorted all of my albums.
I mean, you look at him in Magnolia, you look at what he does in that movie, he steals the show. The fact that he's the best villain in the entire Mission Impossible franchise speaks volumes to the fact that he was not even a physical threat to Tom Cruise in that franchise. He was just a great fucking actor. Like, there's so much about the guy that I just miss so much. I really do. Like, I miss him and Williams more than anyone. I miss Ledger a lot, but I miss Ledger was a guy that you like looked at. You're like, man, the promise here, the talent here, and the adoration for what he'd already done. But like, you look at what Williams and Philip Seymour Hoffman, their careers. I mean, the other day I watched the scene in Good Will Hunting where he's talking to Matt Damon in the park.
Oh, so they're sitting on the bench.
Because I performed, that was a monologue I performed in high school because I just loved that monologue so much. And like, it was in the morning, I was making my coffee, and for some reason it popped in my head, and I watched it on the iPad we have in the kitchen, and I just like stood there and just like kind of cried drinking my coffee because it's so good. It's so good.
He was one of those people that was like, we were blessed to have him for as long as we did. I wish we had him longer. And like,
have you seen World's Greatest Dad?
Yes. I've seen it.
God. No one knows that movie. It's so good. It's one of his best movies.
Drew, I had his entire live album memorized when I was 8 years old.
I mean, you go back and you watch his stand-up.
Oh, yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
No, I know. He would improvise with the audience for an hour. It was some of the greatest comedy you hear in your life. Also, if cocaine were legal, it would be the greatest commercial for cocaine in the history
Oh
of the world.
my- I mean, he
If
was.
you take cocaine, you can be this funny, you can be this rich, you can be this attractive, and like that's what the commercial would be. And then it would show Robin Williams because, like, goddamn,
Oh,
his
man.
classic comedy is. You look at that, you're like, how is one person so talented that he could be this good at stand up and then become that great of an actor? What's up, Shawshank?
Alex wanted to stop
Commander
and say
in
hi.
Chief.
Hi, Mama. Sweet pea.
Outside entrapment.
If cocaine were legal, yeah, that's those are the real issues that we tackle here on Movies, Music, and Mayhem. If cocaine were real, were legal, that would be great. No, that'd be awful. No, like I remember I actually still have it on VHS. Robin Williams live at the Met, and for some reason my parents let us watch it over and over and over again. I think it was like 7 wandering around the house going, "Are you Buddha?" And like no one who hasn't seen that, like I sound like an idiot, but for those who have seen the special, laugh their ass off. Like I literally will text my sister, "Are you Buddha?" And she'll just laugh because we know that it's Robin being amazing.
Maybe it was because your parents recognized, like, maybe he's a little crude, but this is greatness. This is greatness, right?
Like I was quoting, like I was saying, I see Imelda Marcos has lent her earrings for tonight. Thank you, Imelda. Thank you. Like I had no idea who Imelda Marcos was.
Right.
There's no clue, but I found it funny because he's Robin Williams.
Yep. There's so much that you go back and watch what he did, whether it was in stand-up or things that he would put in films that he would, I don't know if he would convince them that he could sneak it in or if they would just write it in. But like, since I loved him since I was a kid, when I go back and watch what he did as an adult, I'm like, man, you're just the best. Like you're so good. I don't know.
Like the amount of money I would have given to have been on set for any of his movies, any of his comedic movies, just to watch like the hours and hours of cut footage happen live in front of me while they're running scenes. Like it would have been so great. He was definitely gone too soon.
Yeah, this year's been a weird year in the sense of like it really has put your career, it feels like put your career just completely in limbo for an entire year. And it also makes more like the idea of how long you have feel crazy because it's like it's only been a year, but wasting an entire year as an adult, not wasting, but you know what I mean? It's not the same. It's not the same. Like even if you're working hard, and which I think we all are, we're literally doing it right now. Like you are, this is what we're doing. So it's not like we're not trying, but it's not the same. It's not going on shows, not doing gigs, not going to audition rooms, not meeting the people. It's not all that stuff. It just, I don't know. It feels crazy when you think about like how long those guys were around, but how short their run really was, how old we're getting.
Yeah.
What a whole year means to waste, like all that stuff. Not to get like depressing, but it's just it's a weird thought that kind of just keeps coming in my mind during this year.
Yeah, same mom. Watched Robin on old Johnny Carson shows the other night, correct? Yeah, I mean he's timeless, and he said controversial things, but never anything that was like offensive. Like
yeah, because it was kind of stuff that we all thought, but then he didn't ever get too deep into it. He just like make fun of someone or like make a voice and bring their name up or like say like one thing that they did that maybe wasn't true but made you kind of laugh. Yeah, who wasn't like a lot of the comedians that just like go way down and deep into one subject where you walk away from it, you're like, Jesus.
Like, wow, he really doesn't like this person. Cool. Yeah,
I don't disagree with you, but god damn, man. You know, something like that.
Do you need a bump? Because you seem like you need a bump. Maybe take a shot to calm you down. Yeah. Have you been listening to like new music while you've been kind of working? And
so I have like a really weird, eclectic taste of music. I really do. It's like you could go from if you went through like 5 songs on my playlist there's this one playlist that I have now. It's called Lunch. So it's called Lunch because I used to play it at, which is funny because I'm actually wearing the shirt. So I used to work at a place called Library Ale House.
Oh,
for years, and I used to control the music there whenever I was working, and I called the playlist Lunch because I would add music to this one playlist. Because I work days a lot, I would add this music to this playlist that could be played during work. Couple fucks maximum in a song, You know, like nothing too crazy. Because I had another playlist that I'd play when I worked like weekend nights. There was some real like ratchet ass shit on there that I loved. Like loved. But if you look at this playlist, Lunch, now I haven't worked there in years, so I just kind of add everything I love to it. But you could go from like a Stones or Beatles song to like MGMT Kids to like a Daft Punk song to like Savage Love by like whatever the fuck his name is to like a Dr. Dre song to a Biggie song to like a Casey and JoJo song. Like that's like, you know what
Casey
I mean?
and JoJo are timeless.
I know. That's my
All
point.
my life.
This playlist has everything in it. So new things I've been listening to, I take this one playlist that I listen to the most, obviously, and I believe that Spotify bases the algorithm of what I listen to off of their Discover Weekly playlist they send me.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly look forward to Mondays because I get a new Discover Weekly playlist that I can steal a few songs from and put on Lunch. So Lunch is massive, like a massive list now that I just add to every single week. And there's not one person that I've listened to throughout it. It's just like if I could, I wish I could show it to you because you would see and you'd be like, what? Okay.
I mean, you can screen share if you want to pull it up.
I technically could.
Yeah. But I mean, like, a few months ago, I just, for some reason, wanted to hear all of like the early 90s, like, rap and hip hop and just dove deep into that nostalgic.
So good.
Like basically if it was played at my junior high dance, it was like that's what I wanted to hear. I wanted to hear a little Salt and Peppa. I wanted to hear some SWV. I wanted to hear just a little bit of Love Shack. Because you got to have the B-52s or thrown in there because it's really not as like. Do they still play that at school dances? Because if they
how
don't,
the hell would I know?
If they don't, they should. Guys, if anybody knows, if they're not playing that, I mean, somebody's got to know a DJ friend or something.
Yeah, I don't even know. Honestly, if I look at my Spotify here, there's not one. I will say one of my biggest guilty pleasures of 2020 is Arizona. I love Arizona so much. I don't know why. There's something about, I feel like they're like the Chainsmokers that aren't quite as brain dead. Like, I feel like they're like just a little smarter than the Chainsmokers, like just a little bit. And I love to listen to them every now and then. Like, if I'm just like cleaning, I turn on some Arizona. Are you kidding me? Game over. The house is spotless.
Yeah, I've been on a classic rock kick. So it's been lots of Journey and
Journey's great.
Survivor and Kansas and yeah, Journey is good until you get to that one song that reminds you of that one ex, and you're like, skip that fucking song, because everybody has one. Everybody has that one song that reminds them of an ex, and you're like, why was this our song? This was too good of a song to waste on this person.
If you didn't have a song where did the relationship even matter? I mean, I feel like I'm
gonna say no, because for me, music is so important in my life. Like I literally made a living out of it for almost a decade, traveling and touring with bands. So like, that's an important part.
If I think of my previous relationships, I don't think there's a band that there's no music that comes to mind, which is so weird because I feel like it would, because music is it's like a nostalgic trigger, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but honestly, because we said Casey and JoJo, I keep thinking of one of my high school girlfriends. Like so much to like we called in the radio station, our local radio station, and like,
my god,
like I just want to. This is for Andrew. I just want to play my music.
I just love you so much. We're gonna be together forever.
Forever. It's so great, Casey and JoJo. And this is for you. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I love you so much, Drew Bear.
I love that song, man. I loved All My Life.
Oh my god. It just makes me feel like I'm dancing like this again. Like,
yeah, oh totally. Yep. You got someone's got their arms up here.
Yep.
And you've got yours down there.
Yeah.
It's just and you keep them right on the waist. Maybe your pinkies go below where a belt would be, but you gotta be real ginger with it. Like horrified.
Yeah, right below that like iliac crest. Just not like low, but like just Because there's the waist, and then there's like the hip bone, and then there's a little divot, and that's where the pinky goes.
That's it. Because that's it. Because you're horrified. You're horrified of what you might touch.
Well, for girls, it was always, we were just horrified of your physical reactions to what you might touch, because there's nothing worse than slow dancing and then all of a sudden being like, oh, and there's that. Okay, you can stand about 2 feet back. Thank you.
Yeah, 2 feet. Jesus, who did you touch?
Barely touch.
2 feet.
Well, to be fair, I was like 2 feet taller than everybody already, so, you know.
Yeah, but this still doesn't make sense why you need 2 feet of space. This is what I'm talking about here. I want to know. And there were.
I mean, when you're in 7th grade, that just scares the crap out of you. I mean, now you're like, hey.
You think it scares the funny thing is it scares the shit out of everyone involved.
Oh yeah.
It's not just you. I almost think in this situation, and this is not a mansplaining situation. I almost think this is a more horrifying situation as a man, because as a girl, I think you know it might happen, and as a guy, you also know it might happen. But the fact that you're a girl and you know it might happen and you can do nothing to prevent it might maybe somewhat disconnect the guilt. Because the guilt behind a man, you're like, oh my God, it's coming. No, ZYXWVESRQPONMLKJIGFEDCBA. I pledge allegiance to the no. And then you're like, oh no, it happened. And then that's the thing. And then we were both in it. There's the eye contact. Everyone knows what happened.
See, I never got eye contact. I was way taller than everybody I went to junior high and high school with, like head and shoulders.
I just want to let you know, if it was bad for you, it was also horrible for him.
I mean, nothing that happened in those times was ever good. Like, everything was so awkward and like just ridiculous. But if you could think back, like, what song does bring you back to that time in your life of like junior high, middle school, like high school days? Like,
so Casey and JoJo for sure for that. Yes. And then I would honestly go Crazy Train. Because it was like, that reminded me of football, that song. And then 7 Nation Army, because Crazy Train was a song that we would listen to when we were like warming up, and I would listen to it in my car all the time. And then 7 Nation Army was a song that I would listen to for my own personal like getting hyped. So 7 Nation Army, still to this day, when I hear it, it makes me feel like a kid. It really does. It makes me feel young. If I listen to MGMT or Mike Snow, or even Daft Punk is later, but like those guys, they make me think of like college, you know. There's like, it's all different eras, you know. And I think it all has to do with like, because the other thing that makes me, growing up, I listened to a lot of rap, but it was like late 90s rap, not early 90s. It was like late 90s, early 2000s. So I remember like buying The Chronic. Like,
oh yeah.
And obviously with Team Action, it became perfect, but that was maybe my most listened to album ever until I got into college, started smoking a lot more weed. I listened to a lot more Modest Mouse and Pink Floyd, like a lot. Like, I don't know how many times I've listened to Joe Cockers with a little help from my friends, like hundreds of times. Funkadelic, like there's just so much random shit that I got into in college, because I lived with so many different people in college that every guy had their own eclectic music taste that they would kind of push towards the middle. So by the end of it, I felt like I walked away learning things about metal. I walked away learning things about folk music, indie rock, classic rock, rap, like every like top 40s bullshit, like every single thing, techno, house. I honestly, when people say like, oh, I love everything but country and metal. Here's the thing.
You don't love everything then.
I really do love everything and some country and very little metal. That's where I'm at. For some reason, I've never been able to just listen to metal and just be down for that shit. It's just too much. It's just too much grating noise for me. I guess I maybe haven't found the right type of heavy metal music because I don't know. I can never do it. It's one thing that's kind of shocking to me.
I mean, I like metal, but there's one like sort of subsection of metal that like I can't stand. And I can't stand Christian metal for the most part because I'm like, God. Jesus loves you. Why are you yelling at me? Like, Like I literally, actually told that to, there's a band called The Devil Wears Prada, and they were on Warped Tour, and they were one of our bands that we sponsored working for AT&T one summer. And oh my God, is he here?
Yeah,
guys,
he just walked in. Sorry,
guys,
Snick,
it's my neph-pup.
Come here, Bubba. Come here.
Mom, this is your grandpa.
He is.
Oh,
he was
hi, baby.
Hi.
Oh.
Look at him. Look at him.
Oh,
He's
so
pretty.
pretty.
Look at this guy.
Look at him. I miss him so much. What a good boy.
I feel like because I was streaming for like hours today, and then I came in here and did this. I feel like he's like, "Where have you been?"
Oh,
you see us both.
Oh my God, he's so dapper. Oh, stop it.
Boy.
Such a good boy.
He's crazy.
Oh.
He's crazy.
And that's the rest of the show, guys. We're just gonna talk to Snickers. But like, yeah, Devil Wears Prada was one of the bands that the company had sponsored, and so they would come by like twice a week to do signings, and they were never like chill. Oh yes, Mom.
Uh-oh. You watch out, Mama.
She'll bring you brownies and distract you, and I'll sneak away with the dog. You'll get him back a few hours later, maybe a day
Honestly,
or two. But
if you took him for like even a whole week and gave me brownies, I'd be fine with it.
Done. I will come back from Mom's with brownies, and then I will take your dog. It's fine.
I love him to death, but we've started taking him on 6 to 8 mile bike rides.
Awesome.
He comes home and he wants to play. He's a psychopath.
Yes.
Literally, 8 miles. We'll go like 10 miles the whole time. The whole time. And he's fine when we get home. It's insane. It's insane. He's going to live till he's 50.
Well, I do have a few metal bands that I can recommend for you later. But the very first guest I ever had was the guitarist for the bassist for We Came as Romans, which technically are a Christian metal band, but they are Christian and their metal is positive message. It's not like praise Jesus, but it's really, really good. And I'm surprised that you weren't into more metal, because being a football player in high school, that shit gets you amped up. There is some metal out there that you're like
3 sisters and a mom.
Yeah, but
if you go, but every single night. So my mom, this is the one thing about my mom that when I think back about, I'm like, this is kind of awesome. She would always want to buy one of the top of the line stereos. My mom is as Korean as they come. She's very frugal with buying things that she doesn't think are worth. She'll spend money on a car, spend money on a house.
Yeah.
That's about it. Otherwise, Asians are we could probably cut corners on everything else. So the stereo, I always remember, was holy shit. It was a 6 CD changer in the late 90s, early 2000s. Numerous stereos, bass separate. And she would play things from Eric Clapton to Whitney Houston to Elton John to Elvis. Elvis is her favorite of all time. Roy Orbison, the Righteous Brothers. This is the shit I listened to every day growing up.
Same.
The Bee Gees, the Monkees. Actually, she kind of hated the Monkees. She kind of hated the Beach Boys too. She was always they're not as good as everyone thinks. They're fine. I was like, damn, that's fucking cold-blooded. That's cold-blooded, Mom. She's like, one of them died. I was like, Jesus, Mom. Jesus. She's like, he got drunk and went swimming. I'm like, what? What does this have to do with their music?
I love you, but we need to cut this short, and we need to get your mom on the show.
The darkest side of my mother, who's the sweetest woman ever, but she was like, they're just overrated. She never said overrated because that's not in her vocabulary, but
that hurts so much. Growing up in California, you don't diss the Beach Boys.
She didn't dislike them. She just never thought they were as good as people gave them credit for.
Dare she?
Elvis Presley, though, anytime an Elvis song comes on anywhere, she will tell you, Can't Help Falling in Love is my favorite song of all time. I'm like, yeah, we know. Everyone knows. You're literally talking to me again. It's just me and you.
I mean, you said the word Elvis, and in my head, all I heard was wise men say. I'm just like, wow. Okay, cool. Yeah.
Yep. Elvis will always have I think if you talk about the most nostalgic pass ever, because I don't really care too much for Elvis's music. I mean, I like his songs, and I love Can't Help But Falling in Love, because I think it's actually a beautiful song, and of course my mother.
Yeah.
But like, I never am like, I should go turn on Elvis the same way that I turn on like the Stones or the Beatles regularly, you know?
Dude, the more you say Stones, the more you're making my mom happy. My mom is the biggest Rolling Stones fan you will probably ever meet.
Really? I love the Rolling Stones. They're not my favorite from that era, but they are very close.
No, this is how much I love her and how much she loves the Stones and does not love me. I had a friend who a friend's friend was running the merchandise for the Rolling Stones. And they were doing that tour like 3 or 4 years ago. 4 or 5? I have no idea of time anymore. A while ago.
5 years ago, yeah.
Yeah. And they were going to be down in San Diego.
I lived in Echo Park when they came to Echo Park. I just didn't know they were there.
Well, they were playing in San Diego over Memorial Day weekend, and at that time, they needed local sellers. And so my friend was like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm actually getting off of tour the week before." She goes, "Great." So I got a job selling merchandise for the Rolling Stones for me and my best friend Jessica, and we were so stoked. We had a friend we were going to stay with in San Diego. We were going to work all day, and then like just hang out and have fun. And then. Oh, sorry. I'm just reading something. 8:30. What? Do you have an out? Oh. Sorry. My brain is broken. But so it ended up, I got extended and I was joining the Newsies tour afterwards to help them out. So I couldn't do the job. So I got my mom to fill in for me. And I called her and told her that I got her a job working for the Rolling Stones. And she screamed so loud into the phone. I had to hold it like out from here. It was like telling a 12-year-old that like she was going to meet Justin Bieber. Like she got that job. You got her that job.
Yeah,
I was like, yeah, I can find. I'm like, yeah, I can. I'm like, I can totally find a fill-in. Like, my mom's great. She takes direction. She's a people person. It's totally fine. So she got to go in. They were there. They were around for like 14 hours that day. But like, she got to watch them do she got to listen to them do sound check, and she got to go down and watch a few of their songs. And you know what she didn't do? She didn't bring me home a shirt.
Wow. And you were working merch, mama?
Yeah.
Come on.
I know, right? Neither her nor my best friend. I'm like, you guys.
I get whatever.
I'm like, I'm not going to talk to you guys for a few weeks. Like, that's just not going to happen. I'm so angry right now. I was like, because they like took a picture at like 2 a.m. They're like, finally done. And I was like, that's awesome. I'm like, is that the shirt I get? They're like, oh. Wow.
Look at that. Great night with the Stones, but a very long night. And I do love you, Rachel.
I know I'm your
no shirt though.
I know I'm your favorite daughter. It's fine. It's fine. Okay, so I know you got to get out of here soon, right?
Yeah, we got about like what 12, 13 more minutes. Yeah, 8:30.
Perfect. Guys, if you have any more Streamlabs, send those in. I'm gonna check that in 5 minutes. We're gonna keep talking, and then we're gonna close out with my favorite final question. So what was your first concert?
Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Fucking A. You're so Californian.
My sister Leslie took me with my best friend at the time, Alex. And it was a few years after Californication came out, or like right when it was 2005, I think I went.
Yeah.
Californication came out, or not Californication, sorry, Stadium Arcadium.
Oh.
And I mean, that was the first concert I had ever been to. I had no idea I was going. My sister I think it was my 16th birthday, maybe, is when she got it for me. And yeah, I mean, my sister, all my sisters are incredible, but Leslie and I were always the closest because she lived in Oregon while my two older sisters lived in Washington and Utah. And then they both lived in Utah. So Leslie was always really close to home and she was closer in age. So she surprised me with tickets to Red Hot Chili Peppers, which was my favorite band and one of her favorite bands. And that was like the classic lineup, right? We're talking like Flea, Will Ferrell, John Frusciante, and Anthony Kiedis. So it was
he threw all Ferrell in there like no one was gonna notice.
It was so great, and it was so funny because I was 16 at the time, and look, I think it was Prop 8 in Cal. What was the prop for smoking weed in California? Whatever.
Oh, God. I think it was 8. Yeah,
I supported it. Okay, but when I was 16, I sure and super did not. So like my best friend and my sister and everyone around us, they're like, come on, just smoke. And I was like, no, I'm not going to
Devil's
drink.
lettuce.
Not going to do anything. I'm going to enjoy the concert. So I wasn't really bothered by them doing it, but I just remember like that being a thing happening. And then me thinking back now as an older man, I guess it doesn't matter that I didn't do it, but I just wonder what it would have been like to be 16 again, stoned at a Red Hot Chili Peppers concert with that lineup. Like, but that honestly, I've seen a lot of live music in my day from 16 to like 25, I think is when or maybe like 24 is kind of when I stopped, unfortunately. But that was still one of my favorite live music moments just because it was the first. And they did like a 20-minute musical encore where it was just Flea, Frusciante, and Farrell rocking out. Kiedis wasn't even on stage. He left. And they just played music together. And you could tell they were right. And you could tell they were improvising. Like it was like watching a jazz set, but like badass rock musicians. So that still to this day, when I think about it, it was so incredible.
Yeah, I got to do the fun older sister taking the little sister to a show. I think she was turning 16 as well, and I drove her from San Jose to Sacramento, which is like a 3-hour drive, to go see her favorite band, the Distillers. Like she loved Brody. Like it was female-fronted punk band. I think it would have been like 2004, and my friends were opening for them, and so I was like, free tickets, whatever. And I was like, this is like a few days before her 16th birthday, and I have the best picture of her, and she's like fangirling so hard, like she's standing next to Brody, who's like the sweetest. She like threw her arm around Jamie, and my sister's just like she's just
pure joy.
It is just pure joy. It was so great.
Sorry,
but Snicker, baby. But yeah, I mean, I that was so much fun. That was like one of like the purest moments that like I've ever had with my sister. It was really sweet.
That's so cool, maybe because that was the same with me. Like I still to this day, I will never forget that night, and I forget a lot of stuff.
Yeah, we had some rough times out in Sacramento because that was a 3-hour drive home afterwards, and it was like,
oh god,
after a concert. Oof. I did go to Sacramento one time to go see Weezer, and Dashboard Confessional opened for Weezer.
Wow.
And I was a big Chris Carrabba fan. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a female of the early 2000s. I had a big old crush on that tiny man, and would go to shows. But I remember
a Frey concert with like my secondary group of high school friends after we graduated.
Was that when Snow Patrol was opening for them? Because my God.
It was another band. I'm trying to remember who they were, but they had this song called Golden Days. They're like, can't keep up with the golden days. I can't, god damn it. It's like Golden Days.
Who is that? I have no idea who that is.
No, they never made it. Golden Days was like the one song they had. Can I get the disco? It wasn't them. Honestly, I don't think I could ever find them because they never blew up. But it was this band that opened for the Fray in I think like 2008. That was one of my like, what the fuck am I doing here concerts. And there was like a Modest Mouse concert in college that I like blacked out during. Modest Mouse in college for me, I listened to because I used to delivery drive from like 8 p.m. till 2 a.m. And I would listen to their entire, what do they call it? Anthology?
Catalog?
Their entire catalog. From the first album, the first track, to the last one, regularly during my shift. I don't know why. I just loved them so much. And I think I had a thing for weird voices because I also love Black Francis so much. And they have very similar kind of quirky like things that they do with their voices where they'll scream sometimes and they'll harmonize sometimes and they'll like white guy rap sometimes, like weird. So like, or like not even rap. I'd say it's more like poetry, like like slam poetry. But
yeah, when white guys do it, it's just poetry.
But I always love those guys. So anyway, now I'm just like ranting about music I loved.
Oh, that's what we do here. I would recommend checking if you like weird, like unique voices. Circus Survive has their lead singer Anthony Green has an incredibly distinctive voice, so beautiful. Like it's one of those things where you hear the voice and then you see the guy and you're like, that does not compute.
You know what? One of the greatest, like, saw the guy and heard the voice that did compute was fucking Michael Stipe of REM. When I saw him, I was like, "Oh my god! Of course you look like an android."
You're like, yes,
like you're a bald ass android with like bug. You're like, "Bleh." Like
that's 100% true.
I love his voice. I love his voice. It's so incredibly unique. Yeah.
Or if you haven't listened to Coheed and Cambria, which I'm sure you should have because of PJ. PJ is a huge Coheed fan. I've actually tried to get him out to see Coheed twice with me, and he couldn't the first time because he had to work. And so I sent him pictures from side stage. He was very upset with me. I was like, I didn't want you to miss out.
Oh,
I'm sending him videos and like live streaming it to him. It was real sad. Yeah, my friend was their sound guy when they played down at 5 Points.
Oh,
and
wow.
like I literally just popped down and he's like, hey, here's a badge. I'm like, awesome, cool. My friend's coming later. Is it cool if you badge him up too? He's like, of course. I was like, sweet.
There's just something about live music that makes you feel so connected to just like everything. Like them performing, the people around you, like the people who, I don't know.
Hold on. Save that thought because we're going to go straight into my last question, which is my favorite one. Like I said previously, Almost Famous is, if not my favorite, one of my favorite movies of all time. And I love asking the question that William asks at the very end. He asks, do you have to be happy to write a love song? Do you have to be sad to write a sad song? What is it that you love about music?
I think the one thing that I love about music is it almost feels like an unconditional love. It feels like anytime that anything is going on in my life, I can turn to certain songs that have provided me comfort at certain stages. Whether it was like after a breakup and I listened to The National, whether I'm feeling old and I need to turn on some Casey and JoJo or Seven Nation Army, whether I miss my friends from college and I go back and listen to some stupid electronic music from a musician that didn't make it, or from people that did make it that were on their way up that no one knew about, but now are multi-million platinum, those types of people. Like, there's just something about it. There's always a song that you can turn on to comfort you when you need to be comforted by something that is just completely forgiving and accepting. And I know it's crazy, but it's like, I just heard the song obviously has no relationship to me from their end, but it's like, if I'm feeling anything and I can think of the song and it makes me feel the emotion that I want, that's just something special that you can't really do from anything else. You can steal movie scenes sometimes. You could maybe like look them up on YouTube like I did with Good Will Hunting the other day. But it's just not the same as a song. You feel it through your whole body.
I love that. I love that every time I ask that, everybody has a very different answer. But I love that you were like, it's unconditional love. And I was just like, that hit me like right here. It just, it was so good. Well, I love you so much. Thank you so much for coming on. And I miss you. And I miss Snickers. And give Ash my love because I miss her too. You guys are the best. Mom, say goodbye. Because I know she's in the chat. But I'm going to let you go. I got a little bit of housekeeping to do. If you want to hang out backstage, we can talk afterwards. If you have to go, I understand. But I love you so much. And
I love you too. Thank you so much for having me on. This was so great. I'd love to come back sometime or at least come in and say hi.
Oh, okay. I'll have you pop on. We'll start early for the episode that I'm at home, and you can hang out and drink tequila with me and my mom.
Almond tequila only.
Almond tequila only. Yes.
Okay. All right.
Right.
Bye, Rachel.
Love you, baby. Oh my God, he's the best. I love him so much. Okay, so a little bit of housekeeping, guys. Oh my God, I completely forgot to bring up my favorite photo of Andrew, but I'm not going to because he's not here. So a little bit of housekeeping. Next month, I have fully booked out. So if you want to put this into your calendars, next week, I have one of the most amazing guests. I am so fucking excited for this. Supernatural is coming back on October 8th, but I have one of their actors. He plays Doug on Supernatural. His name is Brendan Taylor. I'm so excited that he's coming on. And then the week after, I obviously have Coy, who is another just like, are you kidding me kind of guest. We are going to nerd out hard about my comic book collection and all of that. And then the week after that is the week that I am home with my mom. A friend of mine, Sean Lichtenstein, he's in a band called Say When, out in Boston. We're gonna have a great discussion about touring and stuff. And then Sabrina Ramirez is gonna be on the 22nd. The 29th, I'm doing a watch along for Young Frankenstein. Just so you know, next week it is Brendan Taylor at 7:30 p.m. So come hang out. It's probably going to be a long one. We're probably going to get a little drunk and silly. Also, if you haven't joined the Patreon, you still have another week to join before we have our monthly hangout, which is the last Sunday of every month, starting at 4 p.m. We just hang out and chat. If you have any ideas for the show, I am welcome to them. Otherwise, thank you so much for this week. It's been so much fun. I hope you guys are all taking care of yourself. If you are a Patreon, we are having the Golden Day this Sunday at 4. I will send out another notice, but you guys are the best. And I thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I will see you next week.